Hey everybody, this is Scott from Social Media Mastery, and thank you so much for being on this video called 1000 New Leads Intensive. And we're going to be covering from start to finish how to get 1000 leads. There's a territory out there that you can claim. That the world is there, the tools are there. There's never been a better time in history to use Facebook or use other tools, or to really claim the groups that are out there, claim the headlines that you can actually create, allow that creative energy to flow. It's really just a matter of just using the tools and allowing some of our tools to help us along the way with the discipline. The formulas that are there, we just need to put them together. Recently, I just did another post in a group that I've got called How to Cure Addiction with Hypnotherapy. And I had an old video that I haven't really used for 3 years. And I've got a group that I haven't posted in for a while. And I just put the two together and upped my engagement again by getting all these people to say I'm in for something called the full 6-figure hypnotherapy business intensive. And I got another 50 free leads for that. And so I was just sitting there on the couch at home, just used some of the tools that I've got from the past. So if you've got content, you've got groups, and they're kind of just like sitting around doing nothing, sometimes it's time just to start looking for new avenues. Like, what can you put together? What are some groups you haven't posted in before? What's some content that you haven't created yet? What's some content you have created, but you just haven't put it into those groups yet? Looking for those opportunities. I'm going to show you what I mean. It's a lot easier than what people think, but it's just a matter of just really diving in, getting creative, doing the things that other people do. Most people kind of put out a pretty generic message. They put out a message that says buy my stuff, or how to lose weight, or how to fix your relationship, but it's so generic that it's uninteresting. If you want to get a lot of leads, if you want to get 1,000, then you've got to really activate people's imaginations. And it's really easy to do. So in this video, we're talking about the common mistakes that people make all the time while basically trying to get leads, how to fix them, and a lot of the questions that people keep asking, because people keep asking what groups can I post in? What groups will suit my business best? What are the headlines that I should be using? And we've got formulas in this that we're going to share with you right now. So let's get into this. Take a deep breath in, hold it, let it out, get some energy. Let's get fun, let's get creative, get a pad and paper, and make sure that you're not just watching this while driving in the car and just sort of having it sort of loosely on in the background, because it's not really going to make that transformation for you, because this isn't just an information video. To some people it will be, it'll just be blah, blah, blah in the background. For those people, they may as well be listening to the radio. But if you really want to do this, that as I give you the exercises, in a week's time, I could be asking well, how'd you go? Show us, what did you do? Most people don't even fail in business. They don't even get up to failure. Most people kind of, in a way, they get lazy, they get complacent. The thing that creeps into their mindset is that real malaise, that sort of myopic kind of I'm on or off, and if I can't be bothered being on, then I'm off. But there's so many opportunities out there that with just that little bit extra, and just that little bit of extra energy, that little bit extra creativity, you can really be that extra mile. So let's get straight into it, because this is fun. I love this stuff. You won't get 1,000 leads by doing what doesn't work over and over again. So you see this acronym that I've come up with called traffic. You need the 7 traffic essentials working together to make this work. These are the things that people need based on the questions people have asked us and the things that we've seen that people have gotten wrong that they really need to fix in order to get those 1,000 leads. So if you want 1,000 leads, let's go through it. So for traffic, the T that stands for topic, or the headline. What is it that's going to grab people's attention when you do a post, an email, a paid ad, or anything that you're putting out, that you're looking at the world and you've put out a headline and the world is to look at that headline and kind of go, yes, that's what I want. What's a headline that's really going to grab people for your business? Readability, paragraphing, bolding, the way that basically the post is written. A lot of people might get the general idea of what to say in a headline, and they'll get the general idea, but you just can't read the big giant stub of text. Everything's capital, or everything's lowercase, or everything's exclamation marks, everything's emojis. But they haven't really designed visually how that paragraph will look, or that headline. They haven't designed visually how people are going to respond when they're looking at it. Is it easy to read? Is it hard to read? We're going to go through that. Audiences. So groups, as in Facebook groups, there's a lot of them, and you can join a lot of them, but you want to know which ones to join. And then ads, how do you get a bigger database, using paid ads? How do you do it for the best price, for the most efficiency? And viral posts, viral ads. How do you produce a piece of content or a post that people will share? And partners, promotional partners. So somebody who has the perfect database for you. You want their database. You want them to give it to you. How do you do that? How do you find people that have databases? Let's say if you want 10 people that have a database of 3,000 people each, how do you get them to promote your stuff to their list? They will do it if you follow the steps. And then framing, the frameworks and perspectives. How do you get people to understand your message? How do you get people to understand your unique perspective on what it is that you do? If you're someone who's a bit special, a bit different, a bit kind of unique in your take about how to solve the problem that your clients have, how do you get that message there? How do you get that message across? The insider or the niche insider, where do you find people to interview? And what questions should you ask those people so that you've got enough information to really read your client's mind, or in a way kind of read your client's mind because you've interviewed enough people that you know what clients want, which means then you're putting out the stuff that people want. If you just put out a dry framework like step 1, step 2, step 3, but you haven't related to where they're at, then there's a potential that, you could be like one of those people that think coaching is about you, not about them and their thinking and their growth. It's like, think about if you're going to help a kid with maths, do you answer all of the questions for them? Or do you need to it's not just about knowing the answers to the maths questions. It's about understanding how this kid thinks. It's about understanding how your client thinks so that you can match them where they're at and show them look, yeah, I know what it's like. Even if you're not in the same situation as your client. You may not be overweight and you're helping people with weight loss, but you can still understand what it's like. You can still show with experience that here's the words that show that I know what your situation's like. I've just come out of seeing a client who was on ice and they wanted to know, am I the right person to help them? So I saw them and I helped them. I can, in a way, I can sort of guarantee based on my percentages, they'll come back next week not having had any ice. But people are at their wits' end and they want to know, are you the person who can really help me with this? And there's a particular way of relating to them to say look, yeah, I know what your situation's like. And so I'm saying things to her that actually match her situation, which is going, yeah, that's what it's like. And those are the things you need to say to people. And then copy, as in the sales copy. How do you write an ad, like a long form ad? We're using the Notice This acronym because it's such an easy framework. So these 7 things you use together. I don't want you just to grab one of these and go, oh, I tried one, I joined some groups, but then I stopped there. Or I wrote an ad, but then I didn't put it out in 20 groups. Or I put out an ad in groups, but I didn't think of the headline that I was putting out. I want you to use all 7. All 7. Really bring this together. Do you want 1,000 leads? Well, let's get straight into this. So first, the first letter in traffic, topic. So topic's about the headline. Topics, I'm just going to zoom in just so I can see this better myself. So we've got one that I've written here. 7 steps to lose 7 kilos in 6 minutes per day. If you've wasted money on every diet, you're allergic to many foods, you're a bit of a stress eater, and you need to fit your wedding dress by November. If you read that versus something that says lose weight today, which one are you more likely to be intrigued by? Too many people are putting out a generic headline. And I'm going to show you how to do this. So we've got this headline acronym. So you can see that the letters on the left all spell headline. So how many? 7 steps. Effect, just 2. Advantage, lose 7 kilos. Duration, in 6 minutes per day. Loss, if you've wasted money on every diet. Issue, you are allergic to many foods. Negation, you're a bit of a stress eater. And expiry, you need to fit into your wedding dress by November. What I want you to do, this is step 1, take out a pen and paper or a computer with a spreadsheet and put in headline. So type how many, effect, advantage, duration, loss, issue, negation, and expiry. Put them in and come up with 20 headlines yourself. So obviously things like, how many, 7 steps, you're just going to pick an odd number usually, 3, 5, 7, or however many steps that you actually teach. And the effect too. That's kind of the easy ones. The next one, advantage. What's the results that people get from you? And it's usually money, health, or relationships. Do you help people with money? Do you help people with health? Do you help people with relationships? And how specifically? So in my case, like when I'm talking about health, lose 7 kilos, it has a result that they can understand. Oh, lose 7 kilos. I can measure that. I know what that's like. Or find your soulmate. Or heal a relationship. Quit smoking. And go through it and come up with 20 and share them with the group. So if you're someone, you want 1,000 new leads, are you willing to do what it takes to get 1,000 leads? Will you come up with 20 headlines and share this with the group? I would love to see who's going to be first. And if you're first, there might be something in it for you. So 20 headlines, come up with 20 headlines using this formula. Next, readability. So once you've got a headline, we then say to write, type I'm in at the bottom to download a freebie, a video or an ebook. But this is what I've seen after coaching people now for about 10 years. Some posts look like this: how to quit smoking in under 60 minutes. Type I'm in to download my free ebook. Can you see the decisions that I've made on this post as to where I have put certain words, what I have bolded, what I've capitalized, and what I have not capitalized? So some people they just don't know this stuff. When it comes to paragraphing, their paragraphs will look like this. The entire thing is basically capitals, and they think that that's going to make their post stand out, but it doesn't. It just makes it hard to read. So think of there's the audience, 2,000 people, they're all standing up. No one's standing out because everybody's standing up. But what if everybody was everybody was sitting down except for one person? That one person standing up, they now stand out. It's about contrast. So when you make capitals, you need to make sure that capital is strategically placed and that it stands out against the lowercase letter. So going back to the other one I had, where have I put my capitals? How, the H in how. Into, it's an unimportant word. It's just some filler. It's a joining word. So I don't have any capitals there. Quit smoking and 60 minutes are both bolded. Free ebook is bolded. So if you just read the bold stuff, it'd be quit smoking 60 minutes free ebook. It kind of makes sense. That's the important information that I'm getting out. Type I'm in. I've made that basically have a blank line ahead of it, above it, so that people can basically see very, very easily that it says type I'm in. A lot of people hide it in the paragraph. So I'll just show you with, quick question, guys. I just had a thought. Who wants to have a quick chat about how I can help you with my free ebook about how to get off the cigarettes forever? Then all these question marks, which I hate. I'd like for you to drop me an I'm in. See how you've got to go looking for the I'm in? I'd like for you to drop me an I'm in the comments section if you would like to be the first to read it, or if you know a smoker. Then exclamation marks again, which I hate. It doesn't help. It just looks desperate. What is it about the way that this particular post is laid out that would get more leads than this? It's that this one is a mess. So then when people are asking, well, then how come that doesn't exactly fit the headline acronym? And I can explain why very easily. You can use the headline acronym to come up with 20 very, very long headlines. Once you've done that, you can find that some parts of your headline are better than others. You can then start to delete them until you have a much shorter headline that might look something more like this. But it's not until you make the big one that you kind of know what elements you really want in it. So after readability, audiences. So you've got a headline and you know how to make it readable. But where do you put these headlines now? And so there's Facebook groups, ads, viral posts, partners. You need to claim territory, and the territory is there for you to claim. So let's start with groups. It's really strange when people, they feel that they don't know where to post in Facebook groups. There are 750 million of them. You're allowed to join up to 5,000. So there's no shortage. It's not as if like Facebook has run out of groups. But people keep saying the same things over and over again, as in there's some groups that don't let you post. I'm like, well, do you want to spend the whole day thinking about that? Or do you want to get on with it? And it's a serious question. It's like that you're in business, you want to get 1,000 leads. No one's going to get 1,000 leads if they spend their whole week or their whole day stressing over a group that doesn't let them post. There are 750 million groups. Why waste your day or why waste your week on a group that doesn't let you advertise? Move on, find another one. And people they'll ask, but where do I find these groups? Well, we've got a list of us, between the, 300 to 400 different groups that we can post in. But then people are asking like, well, what if I'm not in business? What if I'm doing relationship stuff or health stuff? It's really not that complex. But Facebook gives you a search bar. Start typing. Start typing in the keywords that would let you know like what some groups are. That's how anybody finds groups. That's how you build your database. But you need to have a database. So open up a spreadsheet and start documenting the groups that you found. Join less than 5,000 because Facebook won't let you join more than 5,000. So the rules, things like hashtags. What's a hashtag, or like why are we talking about this? In one of my favorite groups, Helen Mitas's group called Hypnosis Business Success, her rule is that she makes us do a hashtag, Talk It Up Tuesday, above whatever we do on Tuesdays, so that we're not allowed to promote on any other day except for a Tuesday. And if we do, we have to use the hashtag. That's her rule. We follow her rule. If there's another group that asks you to do another hashtag or to do something on another particular day, that's their rule as well. And this is why it's so important for you to have a database that's broken up into days. So what's your Monday groups? What are your Tuesday groups? Your Wednesday, your Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? So that you can basically like grab your best posts that are converted the best somewhere else and then start putting them into the correct groups on the correct days. So you don't just like sort of like start throwing darts and see sort of what sticks. You have a database then that says on Mondays, I post in these groups. On Tuesdays, I post in those groups. And it's the same post for all groups. It's like every week you might just come up with one post, or every 2 weeks maybe you just come up with one post and you share it in all of the groups on your database. Some groups don't let you sell, but they'll let you do free gifts, and others won't let you have any external links at all. So it's really important to, on your database, any group that doesn't let you advertise, don't put it on your database. Just move on, stick to your database. You want the 1,000 leads. So then how do you actually find the right groups? So your modality versus your pain or pleasure. Modalities are things like, I do hypnosis, I do NLP, I do coaching, I do expertise, I'm qualified in all these things. I'm so great, I do everything, I'm qualified in everything. That's not what you would be typing into the search bar to find these groups. Instead, come up with 100 pains that you help people to fix and 100 pleasures that you help people to achieve. And then start typing those keywords into the Facebook search bar to find groups. That's as easy as it needs to be. Like just start typing. So like say that, what if like you help people to quit smoking? Type in words like stop coughing. Start writing these things. And then there's like Facebook ads. So if it's time for you to spend money, give away something in exchange for a name, a phone number, and an email address. So the way that you make a Facebook ad, the 3 visible sections is the headline that we've covered, sales copy that we're going to cover later in this video using the notice this acronym, and the image that you use that we're going to cover next. So they're the 3 elements that you need in your ad that are visible to the public. And then the 3 parts that are not so much visible to the public is the landing page that you've chosen, because in the ad, they're not going to see the extra extensions that you might put on the landing page. They're also not going to see your budget or your target. But your budget, what we recommend is that every ad you do start with $5 a day. If it's doing brilliantly, add $5 more to make it $10 a day. Don't go from $5 to 100 because it confuses Facebook. It's organic. It's more like a garden, like a flower, that you don't want to then just start dumping 50 million bags of soil on the plant. It's going to suffocate it. So allow Facebook to kind of figure out these small changes that you're making. And the targeting, whether you're doing retargeting pixels, they're things that we can cover in more depth in other videos. But one of the best ways that we found to really target people is that if you've already had people spend money with you and you've got email addresses, or if you just had people give you email addresses for an ebook, upload those email addresses to Facebook, and it will either target those people with your ad, or it'll help you find a lookalike audience that looks like those people based on 15,000 data points. So Facebook will actually find for you people that have the same online behaviors, like the same things, and behave the same way online, and bring you more of those people when you make ads. Next. So here's a picture of an ad that I made. This one did go viral because it had over 2,000 shares. I paid for it to be out there, but I didn't have to pay for all of its visibility. And the reason is because I shared it in the voice of my audience. So I'll just zoom in so you can see it. When I paid for this ad to go out, because of the 20% text rule, which means if more than 20% of the image is text, Facebook will not let you advertise with it. So I had to blur the text on the left-hand side, but it's still a picture of a cigarette and it says danger poison. So people can share that more than they would share an ad that says buy Scott stuff. Because if it says buy Scott stuff, that's not in the voice of my audience. But my audience can say to another audience, to another audience member, danger poison, cigarettes. That's the stuff that's more likely to go viral. So if you've got an ad and you want to get free shares, make sure it doesn't just promote you, it promotes an idea. And then that's much more likely to go viral. And then there's partners. This one takes a bit of work, but the Venn diagram is there just to kind of clarify it. So there's 3 people involved. A promotional partner is the person who has an email list of the person that you want to advertise to. So let's say that they have like 3,000 people on a list, and those 3,000 people are people that you would like to advertise to. So now there's three parties. There's the client you want to advertise to, there's your partner who has a pre-existing relationship with that list, and then there's you want to, between you and the client, they're your niche, but between you and the partner, you need to make a deal. There's the 4 sections we go through as to like how to make that deal with your promotional partner. So to make that deal, we go ego, problem, gift, offer. Ego is when you've got to basically like realize that you can't come in and say, look, I think I'm better at my job than you, so let me promote to your list. Instead, you're better off saying, I love your book, your courses and everything. I've gone through all of them 50 times. I talk about you to everybody, and I've covered my walls. I've made wallpaper out of your book so I can read it every day. They are a human, and they have an ego, and they want to feel important. They love their work, of course. They're an expert. Then the problem is when you say, I've noticed that your clients can sometimes, or your list or your followers can sometimes get a little bit nasty because they say that there's a missing piece that you don't teach. So that was stage 1, ego. Then stage 2, which is point out the problem. They can be like, yeah, you're right. They do that. Oh, well, what can you do? Then you move on to stage 3, which is you say, so this is the gift where you say, like, let me give you a gift. I'll show you exactly how to build a 3-video series or a 5-video series that solves that problem so that they'll never rebel against you ever again. And then you move on to stage 4, because then your promotional partner goes, I love the idea and you understand your topic, but I don't want to do it. Can you do it for me? So you move on to stage 4 where you say, okay, I'll build the 3 to 5 videos and then I'll just get you to promote it to your list, so that you've come from your partner's point of view, not just your own. And so instead of worrying about like, oh my God, how am I going to come up with like a 3 to 5 videos? You've got to trust yourself, because people worry that they're going to give away all of their information and they'll have nothing left. That's why you need your niche insider. You're not just 3 to 5 steps. That's not the totality of who you are. Your topic is often much more broad than what you're giving yourself credit for. Because like, again, like just telling a kid the answers to his maths problems, that's not teaching. That's not coaching. Coaching is understanding that coaching is not about you. It's about the other person's thinking process and their ability to solve the problem. So there's so much more that you can build videos about when you spend more time with your audience, because you can find that like you taught the steps and they still didn't follow you. You're like, well, why is that? Ask more questions and you'll get more juicy things to create ebooks and videos about. So next, frame. So framework and perspective. What is your angle and what is your expert positioning? There's 2 ways that I like to get you to do this. One is through stories and the other is through steps that involve either an acronym or a diagram, or alliterations where like you've got a list of steps that all start with the same letter. Something memorable. So this is your framework. Ways that people have used images is like there's the food pyramid, there's Maslow hierarchy of needs, there's cash flow quadrants by Robert Kiyosaki. There's a lot of pictures that people have used to demonstrate their philosophy. And then there's acronyms like SMART goals, or like the things we've used, like the traffic acronym or the headline acronym, or the notice this one that we'll get into. So what are your steps and how can you make them memorable? Or it might be A, B, C, D, or it might be like the letters of the alphabet, but something that's easy to remember. And then freebies and videos. I'm going to just zoom in again. So write it or film it. Version 1 is better than version none. Just have a go. So have an introduction, which is basically like say who you are, where you're from, what you help. So it's like, hi, I'm Scott from Lawrence Hypnotherapy and I help smokers to quit easily without patches, pills, gums or sprays. Relate. Are you a smoker? Do you cough every day? Have you seen your doctor? Is he scared you basically, or she scared you with emphysema, heart disease, cancer? Are you spending $5,000 a year or $100 a week on cigarettes? Have you got a newborn baby and you want to be a better role model? So relate. Then story. I used to be a smoker 10 years ago and now I haven't touched a cigarette since. And my story was, and you just tell a story. Or if you don't relate to the client that way, like you don't have to have been a smoker, or if you're helping people with relationships or business, you can still have narrative, even if it's not your story. Just come up with something that is a relatable narrative. You don't have to have been through it yourself. Teach what we talked about with the framework. Have either a diagram or a way to make your steps memorable. Acronyms, alliterations, or letters of the alphabet. And then have a summary and an offer at the end. As in like, thank you for watching and I invite you now to join my program. So that's the stuff that you're giving away. Either ebooks or videos that does the introduction, relate, story, teach, summary, offer. And then the insider. This is something that people sometimes can struggle with. You can use polls on Facebook where you ask people questions. Do you prefer this or that? Do you need this more than that? Or what do you need more? Then you have a list of options and you get people to vote. Or you do question posts. What's your number one relationship hassle? Or what do you feel that is the number one relationship hassle in the world right now? What prevents you from dieting the most right now? What's stopped you from smoking so much? So what's stopped you from quitting smoking? What's stopped you from, has prevented you from quitting ice? Or call them, email them, or if you're allowed out, buy them a coffee. And the questions that really work well is ask them, what are their problems? How do they see this as an issue? And in their words. So this is how you make your videos better. This is how you make your headlines better. You're finding out their words. This is how you get 1,000 leads. You're finding out their words. You're doing the research. Ask them for stories, because stories are very revealing. When you get someone talking on a rant, it's amazing what comes out. Solutions, ask them what's worked best and what hasn't worked. The DDFF, which is dreams, desires, fears, and frustrations. So dreams is future and desires is now. So both in pleasure. Ask them, what do you want for the future? What do you want now? Then fears and frustrations. Fear is future and frustrations is now. What do you not want to have happen in the future and what do you not want to have happen now? Ask them these questions. And then blind spots from their hindsight. You can't really ask them what their current blind spots are because they don't know. But you can ask them, in hindsight, what was a blind spot for you? And this will make your content better. This will make your headlines better when you get this information. Because then you can then start typing these keywords into Facebook search to find groups. When you find out their words, you will find better groups, you'll write better content, you'll come up with better headlines. Does that make sense? And lastly, we're going into sales copy. How do you write an ad? Using Notice This. So this is one I want you to watch this section of the video several times with a pen and paper and start writing an ad. The left-hand side, which is Notice, versus the right-hand side, which is this. The left-hand side is the pre-ad, which is before you actually make an offer. It's kind of like where you relate to them and you tell them stories and stuff like that. And on the right-hand side is when you actually then ask them to buy something of yours. So first, need. What is the problem they have? Is it smoking? So it's like, are you a smoker? Do you want to quit smoking? Do you want to lose 7 kilos? Do you want this? Do you want that? So you ask them, what's their need? And the obstacle, what's stopping them from achieving that? Have you found that you want to lose the 7 kilos, but you're a stress eater? or that you want to quit smoking, but you just love it too much and you've got nothing else going on, that you don't have enough rewards in your life. The twist or the context. So the twist of the context is where you give a different point of view. You might say that you might feel that sometimes the cigarettes are calming you down, but if anything, they're just making you more stressed. And the insight where you say, you know that you'd be happy to let go of the cigarettes, or you'd love to lose the kilos if only you found something else that worked as well as food to make you happy. And then the coach, you tell them the steps. You go like, well, I found that you can become happy and lose the addiction by making sure these needs are met all the time, and here's the best ways to do it. And then engage and ask them, imagine, like, what would your life be like if you had A, B, and C in your life? And then it comes time to move on to this, where you actually introduce the program. So title the program, what's your program called? Have or inclusions, if it's Zoom or if it's face-to-face, like how are you doing this? What do they get? Do they get 6 sessions with you on Zoom, or is it an online course? What are they buying? The incentive or benefit, which is like either it's a launch discount or you're talking about a slice of life. Imagine that like you get to now live long enough to see your grandchildren get married. Something that's kind of not so much about the features, but something that sort of brings a little bit of emotion into it. And then the sell, ask them to buy. So the name, steps, and price, as in say, so the program, which is called Name a Program, that comes with these things, is the best deal you can get right now. Here's the price, click the button, and we'll see you on the other side. And that's how you write sales copy using the Notice This acronym. So I'd love for you to have a go at all 7 steps. So this is quite an intensive, even though it's been a short video, there's a lot in this video. There's a lot for you to unpack. So thank you so much for being here, because I know that this is a lot, but instead of doing overwhelm, if you've studied psychology, that you know that people aren't, like they don't have like an overwhelm gland in their brain. Overwhelm is a thinking style. It's because instead of doing one step at a time, they're focused on the big picture too much. The big picture is great to see where you're going. Sorry. But once you've got the big picture, it's time just to do one step and stop doing overwhelm. Instead, do the step and make it fun. Bring as much fun energy as you can. It's about training your brain to not focus on disasters and doom and gloom. Focus on fun. Do things that make you feel good. Last night I wrote a weird song thing and I shared it with a friend. It's a personal thing, I'm not going to share it here. But it was just a fun joke exercise that I did just to improve the mood. Because we can't always use substances to make ourselves feel better. We can't always allow, have life, like drop $1 million in our head to feel better. Sometimes we have to feel better from within so that we can do the steps, so that you're getting the dopamine release, because the amygdala in the brain is a lot bigger than the frontal lobe, which means that how you feel is really running the show. Get your subconscious right, and you can do these steps easily. So thank you so much for being a part of this. Do all 7 steps, and we'll see you on the other side. And then I want to see how you go with this. Moving on to the customers next. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next video.